Okay. Okay, it is 6:30, so we'll get this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee underway. Bill, would you do the roll call, please?
And I roll.
Here.
Lorman.
Here.
And Jackson is currently absent, but we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. First item of business is the audit, or I'm sorry, is the approval of the minutes. Do you have any corrections to the minutes? I made a couple that I think Bill has already posted, basically changing who seconded some motions. The JA continues to be, to be a problem. So there being no further corrections to the minutes, I will declare the minutes from our July 2nd, 2024 Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to be accepted. Next is audit of the bills. Bill, do you have any updates for us?
Yes, I have three additions this evening. The first is for the UW-Madison Police Department, $300.76. That is for their share of state OWI enforcement grant. The second item is the Cenex fuel bill for the month of June. That amount is $19,166.05. And then the final item is for Elevate Energy for the Energy Efficiency Navigator. This is the advance of their 2024 ARPA funding, and the amount is $150,000.
Okay. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the audit of the bills with the addition of $300.76 for UW-Madison PD, Cenex for $19,166.05, and Elevate Energy for $150,000?
Norman will make that motion as stated by the chair.
Okay, and I will second it. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the audit of the bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Moving on to resolutions. We have one, it's resolution 2024-34, authorizing application for Agricultural Roads Improvement Program, or ARIP. I'll accept a motion to start the discussion.
Sure. Norman would like to make a motion that we accept this resolution.
I will second it for discussion. Now let's discuss.
So, Madam Chair and Alder Norman, as I noted in the notes for the packets, the developers asked the city and the town of Westport for cooperation in being able to apply for the ARIP grant program. The grant program cycle doesn't start until August, but they wanted to coordinate with both municipalities for authorization to submit an application for that portion of Onken Road that touches both jurisdictions. So the resolution that's in your packet and would be before the council tonight was just giving authorization for that application to go forward. I don't have any details on kind of the scope of the application request at this time. That would get fleshed out once the grant cycle gets live in August.
Okay. And you say the next grant program cycle starts in August?
Yeah, applications are accepted starting in August. Yep.
Okay. Can we see a map, please, showing this, well, ideally showing the community of Bishop's Bay request for changes to their plat? I'm sorry, I should have thought to bring that up in advance. While someone's finding that, I wanted to, thank you. I would note Alder Jackson is here. I'm interested in knowing how much of the roadway is in Middleton versus Westport. I noticed that the Westport resolution is to support Middleton, the city of Middleton applying for the grant, whereas it seems like from the WISDOT map, more of the roadway is in Westport than in city. So it's not clear why we would be the ones applying. I also note that state law prohibits WISDOT from awarding is it ARIP? That's what you called it, projects, after June 23rd of 26. And it also prohibits WISDOT from reimbursing project costs after June 23rd of 2028. And since we have a 5-year street improvement plan that doesn't include Onken Road, I'm thinking this might not be an opportunity for us.
So just to address your question about how much of road is in which jurisdiction, the entire stretch of Onken from M to Q is about 1.5 miles. About 0.9 miles of that abuts the city of Middleton on the south side, and about 0.6 of that abuts the town of Westport on the south side. The north side is 100% in the town of Westport. We, the city, don't have any maintenance responsibilities currently. I think I worded the resolution a little bit differently than Westport, just because, I had this information from the planning department about the breakdown of, how much mileage was in each jurisdiction. So that's why I made it more of a joint effort.
Okay, thank you. I also noticed that it says we cannot use our own equipment or workforces on an ARIP project, so that's important to know. And do we have any input from the abutting landowners on whether or not they like this idea?
No, because there's no project that's been developed and sent forward for public comment or bidding at this point.
Okay. Any other questions about this?
So we don't know what our costs would be. Or
Right.
this would be fully covered by this.
I think we'd get up to 90%.
Oh,
They'll pay up to 90%.
so from I have no way of guessing how much that would cost. I'm familiar with the road. I travel it regularly. This would have to be something where we would say, well, we know we have the funds, or we.
Mhm. And I couldn't find any, because I think the first grant cycle closed or the deadline was in April. So I don't know what projects they've already funded.
Yeah, I don't know that they've made that public yet.
Okay, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And we don't have Public Works here. Yeah, I'm just thinking this might be premature. Maybe we need more information. On the other hand, I could see,
We don't want to miss a window of opportunity.
right, it doesn't hurt to ask. And if we get the grant and decide we don't have the funds to make it happen, we just don't do it.
Bill, what's kind of, I don't know, state people's attitude about that, where we say, sure, we'll do it. They say, okay, here's the money, and then we say, no, we're not gonna do it.
I think it depends on the agency and the grant program. If we were to do that, it'd probably be good to reach out to the people in charge of this particular program and see if that is an issue. I'm not sure for this type of grant.
Yeah, I mean, so that road's gonna get much more traffic. It's gonna be developed out there, right? We're gonna have communities and whatnot. The road is in rough shape.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt the road could use some work.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask if you travel it by car or by bike.
yeah, I wouldn't. dare bike
I
on
wouldn't,
that.
yeah, I don't even take my car.
Yeah, I mean, it's very narrow and it's poor shape.
What about referring this request to Public Works? The Public Works Committee to discuss and,
Yeah, right. I mean, do you think that would be a time? Would that create problems from a time?
I mean, I don't know that I saw what the deadline was from the state. So if they're opening the application cycle in August, I doubt that they're going to close it in 1 month. So there probably would be sufficient time for Public Works to weigh in on the question and get it back to council in a timely format.
And I guess it would just be a matter of someone like our engineer looking at the map going, yeah, okay, it's this long, it's this wide, and take a wild guess at what we would be on the line for, kind of a thing. Is that, can you be comfortable working with those kinds of fuzzy numbers?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that we can get some information on, industry standard cost for pavement replacement and whatnot, depending on what needs to be done to that road. Yeah, we can make some kind of back of the napkin calculations.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Regarding the timeline, they don't have the timeline for the second round posted, but for the first round, solicitations opened February 6th with a deadline of April 5th. So there was about a 2-month window.
Okay, so what if I could make a substitute motion to refer this resolution to the Public Works staff for information gathering and discussion with the Public Works Committee at their July 22nd meeting? Does that sound reasonable? Because of some of the information we need is maybe a phone call to the program manager to ask, what's your timeline for the next round, and to ask the question about if we apply and get it and then say, no, we can't afford it, is that going to be a problem? So again, to repeat my substitute
I
motion.
just have one question.
Oh, go ahead.
So would we have to even refer this to Public Works? I mean, can this go, like, say, directly to city staff, say, can you do some research? And, you know, I mean, for it to go to Public Works, for Public Works to say, hey, can you do some research?
Yeah, you could direct it directly to city staff if that's your wish. Mhm.
Well, but I do think the whole committee should weigh in on it. So it's just directing city staff to get the information sufficient to make sure it gets on the Public Works agenda?
I would also, as part of your motion, include what you did before about adding it to the Public Works or referring it to the Public Works Committee for their next meeting, and then having a recommendation come back to the council at their meeting on August 6th.
Recommendation to council.
I'm just kind of thinking out loud, like the efficiency, if it just,
Well, I think the bottom line is either way, the intention is that next Monday, on Monday, this is discussed at Public Works.
okay.
You guys didn't postpone or cancel that meeting, did you?
There might not,
Be a quorum?
that's possible, yeah.
Well, let's hope not. Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna make a
Thank you.
substitute motion. I move to refer resolution 2024-34 to the Public Works staff to gather information and discuss the application with the Public Works Committee for the purpose of bringing a recommendation to council at their August 6th meeting.
Norman will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to, the substitute motion to refer the resolution 2024-23 to the Public Works staff for information gathering and for discussion with the Public Works Committee to obtain a recommendation to council on their meeting on August 6th. I think that's what I said. Signify by saying aye.
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 And anybody opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Yeah, I may have said it differently, but the elements were all identical,
yes.
so. Okay, moving on to agreements and contracts. We have two. The first one is the John C. Bach Community Forest Management Plan Agreement.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we accept this. There might be some city attorney who will review of the agreement itself, and Kevin would have anything to add, please. Or if anybody has any questions.
Okay, but your motion is to
Yeah.
approve the agreement
Yep.
with adaptive restoration. I'm looking for the
Yep.
thing. There it is, the recommendation on the screen.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have a motion. Would you like to second that?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
All right, discussion. Kevin, we'll start with you.
Can you hear? Kevin Short, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. So we have two management agreements. Our Graber Pond agreement was written in 2006, and the management plan for the John C. Bach Community Forest was written in 2009. Both of these are overdue for a rewrite. The scope document that we asked for came back, and we have a $25,000 in our capital improvement fund, and each of these would be 12.5. So we're within that budget.
Okay. On the screen, Kevin, this is the John C. Bach management plan agreement, but the background refers to Graber Pond. Is that just a bit of confusion because there were two agreements?
Yeah, I transpose those.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we're considering one at a time. And can we go to the agreement itself, the next page? I think it's page 9 of page 9. There we go. There's a reference in item 8.1. And I should have asked, Attorney Fleming, do we have to get city attorney review and approval of these two?
I've looked at both of
Okay.
those.
So this one, 8.1, refers to the Water Resources Management Committee and Stormwater Utility Board, and that should be updated to reflect the new name of the merged committee. On page 10, it mentions in the timeline of vegetation survey in June, which is past. So I think this timeline probably needs to be tweaked a little bit. And moving down further on this page, the term of the agreement, it says it shall terminate on January 1st, 2025. But just above that, there's going to be a presentation of the final plan to the CLC and Common Council. And if that's coming from adaptive restoration, then the agreement can't terminate on January 1st. It should be February 1st to make it possible for them to present. So those comments I would suggest need to be made to both of these agreements. We're only talking about the John C. Bach one right now. And then finally, I was surprised to see, like pleasantly surprised to see there are 3 outreach meetings planned for each of these. Question I had is, are we having 5 or 6 for the whole Conservancy Lands plan?
There are 5 planned for the Conservancy Lands Plan.
Okay.
5 public involvement meetings. Additionally, there'll be meetings with stakeholder groups such as the Friends of Pheasant Branch.
Okay. And the outreach meetings, these are public outreach meetings. It just seems like 3, as good as that could be, it might not be necessary to have 3 for each of these, 3 for Graber and 3 for John C. Bach when we're having just 5 for the entire Conservancy Lands plan.
And I think that these meetings might be a little more informal. They might just be with targeted groups. I can
Like
see
friends.
for Graber having a discussion with the homeowners association or interested parties from around Graber, from the Friends group, that sort of thing.
Okay.
In which case we count those as different meetings, but not to the extent of our public involvement meetings.
Okay. Sounds good. Any further questions? Okay. I guess I will move to amend the main motion to incorporate the changes identified, updating Water Resources Management Committee and Stormwater Utility Board to the new name, changing the dates and the timeline as needed, and changing the January 1 termination date to February 1. Can I get a second for that?
Lorman will second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment to make those 3 changes I just mentioned, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Now voting on the main motion as amended, approval of the agreement between the City of Middleton and Adaptive Restoration LLC for the John C. Bach Community Forest Management Plan update not to exceed $12,500 and incorporating the changes of the WRMC and Stormwater Utility Board name, the timeline, and the termination date to February 1, 2025. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Moving on to the next agreement. Can we get the recommendation showing on the screen, please? So going on to the Oh, wait. Okay. It's gonna take a little creativity on, I'll say your part, Alder Lorman. So we're looking for the recommendation that's showing on the screen, but replace John C. Bach with Graber Pond Conservancy, please.
Okay.
And making the 3 amendments that
Yep.
we made. Okay, so
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the amendment. Oh, let me start
the
over.
agreement.
I'd like to, we accept the agreement for the Graber Pond, not John C. Bach. Assessment by the Ecological Assessment Management Plan. With the 3 amendments for, and as stated by the chair.
Okay. Can I get a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agreement between the City of Middleton and Adaptive Restoration LLC for the Graber Pond Management Plan Agreement in an amount not to exceed $12,500 with the 3 changes identified for the John C. Bach agreement, namely WRMC and SWUB, change the name, change the timeline, and change the termination date to February 1. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Moving on to a presentation. The presentation of the highly acclaimed 2023 popular annual financial report. And I did ask Bill today, I guessed this has to be a term of art, and he said, yes, it is. And I love it. Take it away, Bill.
Yeah, and I will turn it over to Diego.
Oh, yes, Diego.
Who will be presenting the PAFR.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time presenting, but I just want to give a thanks to Bill for helping me out with this. I've never done a PAFR in my life since I started government with the city of Middleton. Prior to that, I have no other government background, but I just want to give thanks to Bill for helping me out with this and introducing me how the PAFR, or the popular financial report, works or is reported. I would also like to thank Michelle for all her help with the graphics and just the layout and just working with me, because this was done through Word and not through anything professional like Photoshop or Publisher. And there was a lot of annoying moments where graphs kept shifting just because Word and Excel and images don't work the best in Word. And then also for Lori, for looking at all our grammar. So we had a full set of eyes looking at almost every detail of this report, so we can submit it to the GFOA and hopefully get another award. But to talk about the PAFR, it's just a summarization of the city's financial information. And it's made to be concise and easily understood by the public. So it's not like our annual comprehensive financial report, our ACFR. Even though a lot of this information is taken from the ACFR, it's not so big, or it's broken down into smaller portions, so the population is able to comprehend how the city works and where their tax dollars go, and just to look at our community and the communities around us. So I think last time this was submitted was it back in 2020, before I even started. We took a lot of those, we took a lot of elements from the prior and just updated some of that information. So for the first page, we want to include City Hall and just make it about the community, showing the 4 bottom pictures, just briefly some parts of it. And then going to the second page, this is our table of contents, which if anyone's looking at it online or downloads our PDF, most of these links are clickable. If you see an image like this, you should be able to either get directed to one of the pages or an online page. And we'll see more of that for the following pages. But for this page, we want to highlight some of our items in our community, such as the area, the population, and other items that some public might not know about. Just highlighting how many city employees we have, 203 full-time equivalent, and then also our median age is actually 38.3 years of age, which a lot of people don't always know what their median is for a community. So we just wanted to highlight that on this page. For our following page, this is a word from our administrator, Brian Gadow. Sorry if I said your last name incorrectly. But this is just basically a statement that for the community to show that the city of Middleton continues to be a community that tries tries to make it a desirable place to live and work and play. And we're always trying to improve every aspect of not just finance for our community and our resources that we offer. And then this is also links our ACFR. If anyone wants to look at a full report of all our city's finances for the year of 2023. And then we also included a page where our alders are, or the information for people that want to reach out to alders. Right here is only their phone numbers, but if you click on the council members, it brings you to the city webpage where lists more information of our council. We also just wanted to highlight our who our city administrator and our finance director are, which is Bill and Brian. For the next page, we wanted to show what awards and recognitions the city has gotten. Most recently, the city's 5th certificate of achievement for our ACFR, as well as being the first city in Wisconsin to get the LEED gold certification. And all of these are linked to the pages that for the articles for each part. And we also wanted to highlight that this is the first time the city of Middleton has also gotten an award for our distinguished budget presentation, which is part of the ACFR. So we just wanted to show this to the public that we're proud of what we're doing and continuing. And in this page, I see 2 of the alders, which is great. I did want to include a picture of Bill with the mayor for the ACFR, but I think we chose a good picture of another one of our of our committees. So, and then for the 5th, for page 5, we wanted to both include some of our highlights from our neighborhood and our neighbors around us. So just kind of brief numbers that the public might not know of, similar to other communities around us, like Sun Prairie. They highlighted some of these parts of our services that we like to give to the community, or that we help out with. So one of those is aquatic center attendance, for year 2023 was actually 60,361 people, that attended the pool. So, and, yep. Okay. Okay.
Details.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try to keep it quick and simple. And then here we want to just highlight our neighbors around us and how we compare to them. And then for page 6, we wanted to show the community where their money comes from. And this is a good back or graphic to illustrate for each taxpayer's dollars, what portion of it is how it's divided. And for here's for per dollar, 31 cents goes to the actual city of Middleton. And then there's the other breakdown of the dollar. And then this, we wanted to highlight the bigger picture of where how much of the taxpayers' money goes to, and the breakdown. Page 7, we wanted to highlight where the money goes for each tax payer. Which our biggest portion of expenses goes actually to public safety, which is great. Our next portion would be for public works and maintaining roads. And then we also want to highlight our business type expenditures. And here's both our graph and a numerical breakdown of that. For page 8, we wanted to show how much we have in the bank, and this is a great graphic that Bill put in. This shows the general fund balance that the city of Middleton has, and how we've been pretty steady for the following 5 years at keeping an even fund balance. And then also our water and sewer unrestricted revenues. For page 9, we wanted to highlight how much the city actually owes and our accomplishment to keeping most of our debt in balance and making sure that we pay off everything that we borrow. Here's a big highlight that 99% of the city of Middleton's debt is actually payable within 10 years, which is great. And one last part of this, it would be to highlight that Middleton has a AA1 rating, which is the second highest that a city can have. So just highlighting that how much the taxpayers' money is saved. For page 10, we just want to give some helpful links for the people that might not know how to navigate the website. So each one of these are clickable links because not everything's at the City of Middleton website, like the public library and tourism. And we also just included some helpful phone numbers in case the public doesn't know where to reach out to. And my final graphic that I like to show is the little Google driving directions, just in case someone doesn't know how to get to City Hall. Sometimes you might be a few minutes away, but you still don't know how to navigate through here. So this is just a link so people can know how to get to City Hall and possibly other departments around us. But yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Do we have any questions or comments for Diego?
Like the dollar graphic.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, we're very excited to have a very public, user-friendly document. A lot of what we produce is very technical and very detailed, and it has to be. But I think this will be a great complement to the city's financial statements, and would just like to, again, thank Diego for taking the lead on this project, really building this from the ground up. Michelle Marks in our office, and also Lori for their help. Especially Michelle did a great job with all the graphic design and layout. And to be able to do this in-house in this short period of time, I think is a great accomplishment. So thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't want this to make it sound like I don't value the content, but I was blown away to learn that this was done in-house and seeing all the detail and just the embellishments, like even something like our community, like that, knowing you did this in Word and Michelle did this in Word, I just can't even believe it. And I think maybe you did a great job, but maybe we can invest in some better software for the staff to not have to struggle so much, because I can't even imagine what you had to do. But yeah, I love having this, and I would like to spread the word when I do my, I do a monthly newsletter. So I'm hoping this will be on the web somewhere, and that a search for, I would love to have a link to share with people, but if we could be able to search for PAFR in the search field and bring this new report up, I think that would be fantastic. Excellent job.
I should add too that we are going to be working with communication manager Brent McHenry, who already has a plan for how to get this out on the website and push it out to the community.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And please pass along our compliments to Michelle too. Okay, moving along. Miscellaneous. We have 4 items. First is an update on the second quarter 2024 investment reports. Bill.
Yeah, I will be pretty brief with both this and the next item, just to make sure we have enough time to get to the last couple items. Your investment reports for the second quarter are included for April, May, and June. There hasn't been any major change in either the yield on the portfolio or the market. There's still an expectation that interest rates are going to be starting to decline at some point, although those estimates keep getting pushed back. Our yield has increased incrementally as some of our older investments mature and are reinvested. If we look at the distribution of our funds, we're continuing to weight most heavily within the first couple of years. That's primarily for cash flow purposes, but also lets us take advantage of high short-term rates that are available. With the investments that are going out 3 to 5 years, we are moving newer investments into non-callables, even though those have a little bit lower interest rate, but our goal is to have a more stable investment yield over a longer period rather than just focusing on short-term returns. So again, no major changes in strategy or the makeup of our holdings. Be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I don't have any. Does anyone have questions for Bill
None.
on our investment reports? All right. Thank you, Bill, for a great job as always. Let's move on to item number 2, update on second quarter 2024 general fund financial reports.
Yeah, and also in your packet are the revenues and then expenditure reports for the general fund. This includes actual year to date through the end of June. It does include a column for projected. For this report, since we're only midway through the year, we've looked at some of the individual key revenues and adjusted the projections. The department projections are primarily based on the budget because we don't have the department projections yet that they'll be preparing as part of the budget process. As they submit their budget, in addition to their 2025 requests, they will also give us their best estimate for 2024, and those will show up in the budget documents coming forward. The couple revenues that I'd like to highlight, if I can scroll down here. We do have some increases in engineering review fees and administration review fees. Those are primarily to new subdivisions. And we've also had a lot of plan commission activity that's showing up in the plan commission charges. The largest area that we're expecting to be above budget is in interest on investments. As interest rates have continued to remain steady, we're currently projecting $850,000 for the general fund compared to the budget of $500,000. I should note that the year-to-date actual number is showing us higher than that. And the reason for that is because we used a pooled cash system where all of our funds are pooled together. We have interest that comes in this one line item. And then at the end of the year, we allocate that to all of the different funds based on their actual cash balances. So that'll be adjusted based on those balances at the end of the year. At this point in the year, I don't have any major updates on the expenditure side. Overall, when we factor in revenues, expenditures, and anticipated changes in assigned fund balance, we're projecting a surplus of about 210,000. That has the potential to be conservative depending on where interest income comes in, where our vacancies end up, but we'll have additional information on that as we get into the budget process. And can be happy to answer any questions.
When you say plan commission, what does that mean?
So those are our fees for planning applications for something like a rezoning or a site plan. Those revenues that come in from those application fees go into the plan commission charges line.
Gotcha.
Any other questions for Bill? All right, great. Thank you, Bill. Moving on to item number 3, update on the police chief recruitment and revision of funds allotted to engage a recruiting service.
Good evening.
Hi, Brian.
Good evening again. As an update for the process, the Police Commission met last Wednesday night. They reviewed the 4 proposals that were received. I sent out a request to 7 different firms. Only 4 chose to submit proposals. On reviewing the proposals, they selected 2 finalists. They intend to interview those 2 finalists next Tuesday, if possible, to select a single finalist. Of those 2 finalists, the costs in those proposals are included. The $20,000 I came to request previously on their behalf was based on my expectation for a cost going off of the expense we paid for the city administrator recruitment. This does have some additional steps to it. And so both of those proposals came in over the $20,000 initially allotted. The Police Commission requests a motion to revise that limit up to $32,000 to include the ability to engage either of these firms, whoever comes out in their estimation on their interview, and any additional costs. I would expect by the 6th of August, I'll be able to return to this committee and to the council with a final selection for approval of the contract and the final cost.
Thank you. So, Brian, are you looking for a motion tonight, or can we wait until we get the contract? Because I know the request came in for 20 and now it's 32, and I understand why. But the Baker Tilly, of the 2, Baker Tilly is higher and that one's only 28.8. So I'm wondering why the 32.
So I set the 32. If you, the end of that sentence for Baker Tilly also says $300 per hour for exceptional unplanned consultant costs. That's simply a buffer to make sure that we could wrap around any additional costs to conduct community surveys, staff surveys, things that are not necessarily set into their proposal. I don't believe that there would be any issue in deferring until the 6th. When I can return with a final selection and a final projected cost. I did not want to go that far without at least informing you that we had exceeded the initial cost allotted.
Yep. I don't think any of us would hold firm to the 20K, correct? So is it all right with you if we wait until again? Okay, so that's what I think it's pretty clear there's support from the Finance and Personnel Committee to increase the amount as needed, and we'll look to get a motion going on August 6th when we have the agreement. And good luck
Fantastic.
to everybody working on this at the interviews. I hope they take place as planned. Okay, thanks. Moving on to item number 4, initial discussion on general update and revision of the personnel ordinance to simplify and reduce redundancy with the employee handbook. Brian again.
All right. In 2021, we went through an exhaustive and extensive review and revision of the personnel ordinance. And at that point, the employee handbook as it stands was initially created. Previous to that, there wasn't anything out there to wrap all of these together. I will say that at that time, I was still rather new to the city. And so a number of items that I would consider policy that would be solely contained in an approved employee handbook remained in the personnel ordinance because I didn't want anything to get lost at that point. We're several years down the road, and this is simply to inquire with the committee if there is an interest in reducing that redundancy, moving the ordinance more to an authorization and governance document, directing the development of policy, and then moving the specifics of policy, this many hours per month, this many days per year, simply into policy in the handbook. Before I embark on that work, I wanted to make sure that that is something that you believed was worthwhile moving forward on.
Thank you. Members, reactions?
I'm okay.
You're okay with the task with him going forward?
It's 5 years, coming up on 5 years. It's always got to take a look at these types of things periodically.
Yep, I'm a big fan of eliminating redundancy and having situations where one document says one thing and another document is it just slightly different, just enough to make it confusing and unclear which one's the authority. I'm also a big fan of borrowing from other municipalities, you know, what works really well in other municipalities. So I would encourage you to do that and, you know, look to some of our neighbors, how they structure both their ordinances and their employee handbooks. It's a nice way to save time and money and make use of effort somebody else has made with their permission, of course. Any reaction, Alder Jackson? Okay, I guess the response is yes, we would like to do this. How long, what kind of timeline do you think this will take, Brian?
I would say this will take the rest of the year and some. We'll take it in chunks. It will be the first time that we have reviewed the entire handbook and the entire ordinance since it was revised in 2021. And so the example that I provided in this packet for the format I believed would work, going back, I think that that's not exactly what I would propose, taking a look at the handbook again. So I will pick apart those things that would represent the most problematic areas for duplication and work outwards from there.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we have reached the end of our agenda, so we stand adjourned. Thanks, everyone.